Hey Swati, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, Rishabh. How are you?
Yep, all good. So it was fun to generate ideas and do the research. And in this lesson, we're going to discuss about execution, right? And with execution, there are some key points to remember and the process that I will discuss so that when you're executing these experiments, the ideas basically that you've generated, you're going to be executing those experiments. You'll know what are the best practices and how to execute them, right? So the first thing that I suggest is when you execute an experiment is to map it to the A3R3 funnel, right? So if you
Right.
recall, our A3R3 funnel is awareness, acquisition, activation, retention, revenue, and referral. So
Yeah.
I'll give you a few experiments and then tell me what you think, which stage of the funnel it ranks on. Okay.
Okay.
So the first one is, let's say we find a SEO keyword that our competitor is ranking for, and then we create content around that keyword to drive traffic.
I think that would it fall in awareness if I'm not wrong?
That's right. It would fall in awareness. So we are trying to spread awareness about, that particular our business in that particular keyword, targeting using that particular keyword. Now, let's say you are running a free course like this course, but you have a landing page where people have to subscribe with their email address in order to get the free course.
That would be acquisition, of course, because you're acquiring. Yeah.
Exactly. And what if I ask one of those people to refer their friends to join the course?
Referral?
Yeah, that goes into referral. And if I have a monthly subscription, right?
Mm-hmm.
I offer a discount if people buy annual subscription. Then which stage does that discount hack lie on?
Retention, because you're retaining them for a year.
Right. So it's sort of an overlap between retention and revenue. So you'll make
Yeah.
an annual revenue, but you'll also be basically improving your retention. And I would agree with you that if I had to choose one, I would pick retention for that particular experiment. Right. Here's another one. What if you're an e-commerce store? People come on your website, they add a product to cart, which is $80 in price. Then you show them a pop-up that you will get free shipping for $100 minimum. So add $20 worth more to your cart to get free shipping. What kind of experiment is that?
I don't know.
So if the think about it this way, if the user was to if the user was to make a purchase with that $80, then you would get $80 in revenue.
Revenue, yeah.
But if you add 20 more dollars, what do you increase? You increase the average order value.
Yeah.
So you're increasing your revenue. And hence this one falls in the revenue stage of the funnel.
Okay.
Right. Here's another one. Let's say let's say you have a SaaS app. People come to your app and you offer them a 10-day free trial to try out the app. What kind of stage does that fall into?
Is it activation? Because they're
Yes,
actually, yeah.
that's right. So people using your app in a free trial are much more likely to be activated. Even though you can say that if people have not started using your app and you give them a free trial and they sign up your app just because of the free trial, you can also say it's part of acquisition. But if someone is staying in your trial for 10 days, that means they are more likely to be either paying customers or retained customers. And hence that stage is an activation hack. Also,
Right.
more interestingly, if you dig deep into what happens in the free trial, let's say you sign up for a free trial and you did not use the product, right? And then you get an email campaign from that particular company. Let's say it's ClickUp. You signed up for ClickUp. You want to use ClickUp for project management. You find it too complicated, which most people do in the first time. And then you don't use it for 3 days. But then you get an email from ClickUp saying, hey, you haven't used the app in 3 days. Would you like to book a call with us to get on a demo of the product? That's also activation because they notice that you have been acquired, but you have not been activated. So while you have signed up free trial, which is that you are required, you're not using the free trial. And if you're not using the product in the free trial, you will not be activated. And if you will not be activated, you will not be retained. And if you will not be retained, you will not pay them. And if you don't pay them, why will you refer other people? So it all goes in that in the stages of the funnel. Right.
Yeah.
Cool, but yeah, great job. I think very good answers. There are some overlaps, here and there, like you saw, like some things fall under two different stages of the funnel. But it's important to map the funnel and be able to understand which stage we are executing on so that we know exactly what we are doing, what we are working towards, and set goals accordingly. The next thing to keep in mind with execution is to keep it lean and agile, which are two things that we discussed in detail in the earlier lessons. But this is how agile execution looks. So what we do is we design the experiment first. We test it with a particular audience segment. We get feedback and iterate, and then we plan the new execution sprint. And then finally we deliver. So let me give you an example. This is borrowed. Agile has been borrowed by growth marketeers from tech. So this is not a growth marketing term per se, but we use it in this context of growth marketing experimentation. Right. So let's say if you decided that I'm going to give, let's say you're an e-commerce store, people come on your website, and this is an example we discussed earlier. You are currently giving them 10% off if they sign up to your email list. Now you decide that I want to improve the conversion rate of people who are signing up on my email list. And your experiment is to give them a 15% off because you notice that one of your competitors is giving a 15% off. Right. So do you push that 15% off to your entire audience? No. What you would do is you would design the experiment. Let's say you have a pop-up, right? Then what would you do? How would you actually execute it?
I think firstly, the people who have signed up and maybe who have placed orders with us in the past and who are like more likely to shop from us, or maybe the people who have things in their cart and something's stopping them from checking out. So maybe offering a higher discount would lead to that checkout.
Right. So, but you would test it with the particular, so you defined an audience segment, but you would test it with that audience, not with everyone, right?
Yeah.
So that's part of the important point to note, that you should always test it with a segment. Now, in this case, the discount is only being offered to people who have not signed up to the email list. That means they cannot be past buyers, right? So in that case, what you could do is you could pick a particular channel. You could say, let's say, for example, I'm only going to show this to people who are coming from Google Ads because Google Ads performance is low. If you don't have that data, then you can just put it to 20% of the audience or 50% of the audience even, and test it against the 10% that you have, because you also need to get data about whether a 15% is going to perform better than a 10% or not.
Okay.
Right? So your A/B testing sort of things also come in here, but tested with an audience segment. Now you see that this is getting better data. This is getting better conversion rate with that particular audience. Then you can plan the next sprint, that now I'm going to execute it for 80% or the entire audience, right? So that's how you go agile. And typically what we do is we do weekly iterations. So every week we'll change something. Now let's get back to the same example. Let's say we have the pop-up, and the pop-up says, sign up now and get 15% off. Right?
Okay.
We can then, the next week, if the conversion rate does not improve, or if we want to test something else, we can test get 15% off on your first order. Right? So we can also make small changes in the copy itself, test it every week. Similarly, if you're doing a cold outreach email campaign, you can test different email subject lines every week. But you have to make improvements and iterations based on the data you get from last week, and then change it the next week. And you have to do it on a week-on-week basis. And that's the reason why growth marketing is so agile and it gets results pretty fast. So in my experience, if you're making improvements each week based on the target metrics, within 4 to 6 weeks, you'll sort of be able to find whether I found a winner growth experiment or whether I should kill this and go back to my ideas and pick up something else.
Okay.
Right. And that's how I would repeat this multiple times to eventually find these unicorn growth marketing campaigns that can be scaled and that can get us results over the long period of time.
Great.
Right.
Yeah.
So, a lot of new concepts, but I think, imagine you had to apply this for social media, is it something that you could do?
Absolutely. I mean, of course, we've been like doing new experiments, what works for our audience, how is this a way to improve engagement, or is this the content that it's to their liking? And if that it's something that, the audience is really liking, then we maybe modify your content a little bit and then post it again in a different way.
Right.
So are they liking it more, or are they not? So of course.
Exactly. So you see how it applies to website, how it applies to email campaigns, how it applies to social media. Actually, it applies to anything that you do. So the
Yeah.
specific channel that you do does not matter. And that's why this process is sort of the beautiful thing that ties all growth experiments together. And you can keep using the same process no matter what business you're working with. So this particular skill will always give you value, no matter which business or which channel you are executing on. Right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So yeah, happy to see that you already know how to apply this. You can think of ways how to apply this. And that's all for this lesson. And in the next lesson, we're going to deep dive into A/B testing. So cool. See you all in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.